Aloha and welcome. We're going to be starting in a couple of minutes. If you're watching after the podcast is aired live, please leave your comments anyway. We'll talk to you in a bit. All right, here we go.
Someday love will find you. Someday love will find you.
Aloha and welcome back. Give me 1 second. Let's go, Quantum Queso Dip in the chat. Give me 1 second. I'm going to get everything started. Thank you for joining me. All right, Spaces is started. Okay, here we go. Aloha and welcome back to the week that was. I am your host, Colin Edsman, coming to you live from Hawaii in the middle of a tropical storm called Lala. No kidding. Lala is the name of the storm we're dealing with, but it seems like the audio's good, chat's running. Let's get into it. Now, as I already said, we're dealing with a hurricane out there. I'll pull up the radar real fast and you can kind of see the situation that we're sitting in here. I know this is a little bit different. I'm not the weather channel, but we're going to talk about it just for a second anyway. If you're on Facebook, yeah, you can't see this, too bad. You're going to have to jump onto YouTube to see the actual whole situation I got going on here. But as you can see here on the bottom, that's the tropical storm. And if we zoom in a little bit, this is my, zoom. Okay, well, I don't know how to work the weather app. I'm not the weatherman. But here's our little island. This is the tropical storm that's heading towards us. We're currently getting bands of it. So throughout the podcast, if you hear the weather outside, excuse the rain. It likes to make a lot of noise sometimes. But the island always gets through it. We're strong people. We get through every storm. We're still here. So I'm not too worried about it. You guys just buckle down. Make sure you tie down all your slippers. Maybe just bring your slippers inside so it doesn't blow away. But let's take this down and we'll get into the actual podcast. Here we go. All right, so this week wasn't too crazy. This was kind of a quieter week, more mixed after a big run we just had. The S&P 500 still managed a third straight weekly gain and tagged a fresh record high on Thursday before, you guessed it, giving it back on Friday. Soft inflation data early in the week kept rate hike odds sliding lower. But weaker retail sales and some AI financing chatter cooled the tape into the close. Now, before we get into the whole rigmarole of this podcast, a little bit of housekeeping. I am not your financial advisor. I am some dude on the internet. Don't be taking advice from anybody you haven't checked with who isn't licensed. I am here for educational and informational, financial, and obviously some weather content. So stay tuned if that's what you're here for. Now, let's go through the quick headline rundown. July CPI came in soft, 0.1% over month, 3.4% year over year, up 0.2%, and 2.5%. PPI also sort of tame. September rate hike odds dropped into the high 20s. And then Friday's retail sales printed down about 0.5%, the weakest in over a year. S&P closed Friday at 7785.76. Oh, thank you, Quantum. Yeah, Lala is good reason to hit up the Costco. Yeah, you're right. One Costco on the whole island. Yes, thank you, Mrs. Edsman in the chat as well. Wow, this is a booming night. You guys hanging out during the storm. All right, let's get back to it. Here we go. So the Nasdaq down about what does it look like? 2.8, no, 0.28%. Whoa, 2.8% on the Nasdaq would be wild. All right, Dow down 0.20%. For the week, the S&P roughly down 0.5%, Nasdaq flat, slightly up, Dow down about 0.5%. But the crazy thing is Reddit ripped 13% on the S&P 500 inclusion announcement. Applied Materials beat, but sold off. You know, that happens. Broadcom got hit on AI debt concerns. You know, we've been talking about this for a while now. You got to make sure your AI makes money, right? Or at least has a large or a high use case. Like, you can't just be running all nitty gritty, wild and out, thinking that you can just get away with just spending a bunch of money on AI. No, you can't do that. You gotta show us the receipts, right? Oil stayed elevated on Hormuz noise. Underneath it all, the same selective market we've been watching for weeks now, guys. Earnings still strong overall, but the market is picky about how the AI spend is being financed and whether the consumer is still showing up. Now, as a personal user of AI, just tons of stuff just this week alone. I mean, of course, we're going to go into the Kairos agentic account. Spoiler alert, basically sideways, just like the market, right? It's in the same trading territory. It's not magic, right? So, shocker, Kairos was basically sideways on the week, but that's okay. It's not down. And still fully agentic. Also, my wife and I made some games for her class with AI. That's been rolling out. If you're on my X, you kind of saw a little bit of a couple of snapshots I got of Loxley, excuse me. I'm still trying to pronounce the name of my own game here. But AI is still very useful, is what I'm breaking it down to. Because at the end of the day, it's helping more than it's hurting, right? Yeah, there are people out there doing dumb things with it. We have a saying here at home. It's a little bit crass, so forgive us. But they're gonna draw dicks, right? That's kind of the thing. Like, people are gonna take a thing that you build for good and usefulness, and they're gonna turn it into something lewd. Remember back in the old days when we had the calculator? Yeah, when we had to hold it separately and we didn't have anything else here in the other hand because cell phones, well, didn't exist yet. So even with calculators, we used to write in boobless, right? Am I the only guy here putting in boobless in the calculator? No, probably not. We all did it because once we figured it out, it was everywhere. Probably got banned in a school or two. Um, oh, hey, thanks, Quantum. Hey, I appreciate that. That's what's up. Oh, the chat is popping tonight. Thank you guys so much for talking stories. I love to see this connection going on here. But let's get back to the actual news here before I rattle on. If you're new here, every Friday I break down the week's biggest stories, the deeper narrative, leave space for some of the live desk that I'm running, and the And tonight we're running the also a taco bucket segment. So stay tuned for that. We're going to kind of deep dive into the use cases of the Robinhood chain and the bullishness that I feel in that department. So obviously the chat is popping right now. Yeah. um, they're talking stories about the reasoning behind the games, and yeah, we gotta get kids learning how to read, because there's everybody just needs to learn how to read and see the world that's open when you learn how to read and read well, and you can comprehend that reading. So trying to turn that reading into kind of fun game exercises and things that I can create at home. Why not, right? All right, so let's get into it. For the first big story, soft CPI, soft retail sales, and the Fed gets more breathing room, I guess, overall. So Wednesday's CPI was almost exactly as expected, and that was good news. Headline. Here, I'm going to take this off because I'm getting a bunch of messages in my head, so excuse me. So headline down, say up 0.1% on the core, 0.2% annual rates, cooled a tick to 3.4% and 2.5%. Energy prices continued to ease. Food was contained. And markets took it as a confirmation that the earlier energy spike from the Middle East was fading. Yeah, we're still talking about it. As you guys know, I hate talking about the Middle East. It's just not fun. Then Friday, the Commerce Department dropped the July retail sales down 0.6% versus expectations of a small gain. X autos also soft, consumer spending is cooling. So the reason this matters for you guys is soft inflation plus cooler consumer equals less pressure on Big Daddy Warsh, as Quantum Queso Dip likes to put it. And the Fed to hike in September, the odds of September hike-wise, that fell to the maybe 20% at this point. Yields eased at points. The equity market liked the rate relief, but didn't love the growth signal, which is why we finished the week with a mid fade from Thursday, which we hit a record on, like I said. So here's a bit of a takeaway here. The dual mandate tension is still there, just inverted, I guess, from a few weeks ago. The Fed has more room to stay patient, but the consumer is flashing a bit of a yellow light. Man, I should have put yellow. I was almost there with the yellow light behind me. Dang. Rate sensitive names and the broader risk on bids still have a tailwind for now. But we're still kind of in that area, and the whole market showed it this week, basically trading, as you can see from the numbers, mostly sideways. Here, I'll pull up the chart on the S&P 500 real quick, and you can kind of see a mini version of it down here. You see, so I mean, we did good, finished up, yeah, not too bad, right? Oh, hold on, that's not the week. That's a much bigger calendar. Got excited there for a second. Here we go. Let's find the actual. Where are we at here? Aha. Yeah. So this is the week we're looking at here. Looks like a little bit of a hat. That's kind of fun to think about. So did a bit of a hat trick this week. Ran to new all-time highs on the S&P 500, and then yeah, chilled out the rest of the week, I guess. Right? That's usually how it goes. There was so much Robinhood chain bullishness going on, and the agents basically got all this, so I don't really have to worry too much. Close a couple of trades on, close a couple of options, roll them out. It's all easy at this point, right? So we go around and we kind of explore other avenues of interest and fun. All right, so for our next story, as I was talking about it already, the S&P 500 hits another record high. Despite the Friday pullback, this was still a constructive week for the S&P. It closed at a record on Thursday and finished the week up about 0.5% at a 7785.76. It's a hard consecutive weekly advance, or this it's the third consecutive weekly advance. Excuse me. Took my glasses off, and now I'm over here like Velma. Friggin' jinkies. How are we doing here in the chat, gang? Loxley, yeah, that's what's up. SpaceX lockup FUD is nothing. Yeah, dude, big time. Let's talk about that just for a second, just because we saw it. And yeah, big time. SpaceX, we were worried about it being unlocked, and then all of a sudden, the whole market was going to dump it, right? But no, it didn't do that, did it? So everybody was hoping that SpaceX was going to dip under 100, right? So we're taking a little bit of a side turn into SpaceX just for a second before I go into how flat the NASDAQ was. Talking about like Nebraska flat, pancake flat, but it doesn't matter because we're going to talk about SpaceX for a second. As you can see, let's back up. There's that low. There's the low that everybody was thinking. Like even I put a couple of $90 puts out just in case, right? You gotta be pragmatic out here. Like yeah, okay, they lost money, but if I didn't put them, it probably would have fell to 69, right? That's what we were all hoping for. But it's SpaceX, so it seemed like all the shareholders who had been holding on to it and were stuck in the lockup period still held on to it. And now we're returning to post IPO highs of, what are we at? Finished off the week at 140. Very good, SpaceX. That's not bad. But let's get back to the NASDAQ. Roughly flat, as I said. Dow lagged and finished lower on the week. So energy and materials caught a bit of a bid with oil. Tech and communication services led the third led the midweek push. Let me check everybody's chat. Let me see how everybody's doing. All right, everything's still live, and my computer hasn't crashed, and the storm hasn't come into my office window. So this is great so far. Good job, gang. Yeah, let's go. Nope, previewing that too soon. Adios. So let's get back to the task at hand. Reddit. It was clear standout name surged 13% after it was announced as the S&P 500 edition, effective August 18th. There's the takeaway. The market is still climbing the wall of worry as far as AI spend goes, just more selective and with less urgency than the big week. We probably lost X. I'm gonna need to go and fix that. Give me 1 second, but I'm gonna do that as we finish the takeaway. So with less urgency than the big week we had before, records are being made, but the tape is starting to respect the softer growth data. Yeah, let me fix that. All right, now that's going. Here we go. Perfect. Now we're back. Excuse whatever that was. Okay, yes. Welcome back. Awesome. So let's get into our third story as we get all the gremlins out of the way. Let's check the chat. Everybody's good. All right. So earnings are still delivering, but AI financing and guidance are under the microscope. CoreWeave and Supermicrocomputer both posted strong results earlier in the week as the stocks ripped. Cisco and a handful of other tech names reported. Applied Materials delivered an upbeat forecast tied to AI data center demand, and the stock still dropped more than 5%. It's costly. Data centers are costly. We're just going to narrow it down to that. As investors questioned whether the numbers were good enough after the massive run, the name was already had a bit of a year, right? So Broadcom sold off hard after analysts raised questions around a potential large debt vehicle to help finance AI infrastructure buildouts. The theme is evolving. It's no longer just are you spending on AI? It's how are you paying for it? And can you show the return without stretching the balance sheet? Here's my takeaway. Earnings season remains net positive for the indices, but the market is getting stricter on the quality and financing of the overall AI narrative. Dispersion overall is going to continue. Now, I wouldn't call this a bonus story, but we're going to have to talk about the oil, Hormuz, and geopolitical backdrop that just won't go away. Like, I'm honestly, you guys know me already. I'm real tired of talking about Hormuz. But we're going to talk about it just for like one iota of a moment because, oil stayed firm and swung higher, right? That's why we're talking about it. At points as Strait of Hormuz transit remained constrained. And Middle East headlines continued. More taco nonsense. Yes, taco, 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 right? That's why taco coin is hilarious because tacos happen all the time. Energy stocks were among the better performers on the week. This is still a live inflation and risk factor even as soft CPI print took some of that pressure off. So we've got the overall oil going on. We've got AI making sure they got to spend. And those two things are sort of putting a lot of pressure on how inflation rates come in or out, up or down on, well, Fed Chair Warsh. Hey, I'm getting used to his name, Taco Cat. Ooh, that's a fun one. I like that. Yeah, AI data center storage company. Like totally. Yeah, I'm right there with you, Quantum. I mean, gosh, great minds. Great minds. All right, so let's talk about some of the market movers, right? So some of the standouts for the week, right? We got July CPI, July retail sales, September Fed hike odds pretty low. And of course, Reddit up 13% on the S&P 500 inclusion. Now, if you're not super familiar with Reddit, they are a sort of a blog post website, and they've been around for, well, if the start of the internet was the beginning of time for the internet, Reddit has been around almost as long as the dinosaurs, I guess. They've been around since almost the beginning of the internet, and Reddit is used for Google to train their models, to train their AI, and is training a lot of other AI. They charge a bit of money for that too, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know how much money. I just can't get my hair to do what it wants to. Whatever. It's just gonna be wild and wonky. But as far as Reddit goes, like I get it. Like I mean, it's been a long time. I don't know why. Like Reddit is basically an AI play. Like they AI has to get all of their up to date new information that's already argued over and chewed out from somewhere, and Reddit is a perfect place to get it. Now I don't use Reddit. It's like I haven't used the UI in who knows how long. And even back when it was around, I'm like, I'd click on a Reddit and I'm like, ugh, I can hear the noise in this web page. Ugh, I just can't. Good job, Reddit, but just not for me. Also, standouts: CoreWeave and Supermicro. Strength on earnings. Applied Materials and Broadcom pressure on AI-related concerns. Energy catch up with oil, right? But here's the important part of it all, right? Let's get into the deeper angle. The market just absorbed two soft data points in the same week. Tame inflation that gives Fed cover to stay on hold, and a clear deceleration in consumer spending. That combination produced a mild digest after the Thursday record rather than the full risk off move, I guess we can say. Meanwhile, the AI complex is evolving in real time. I mean, if you've been part of AI even the past couple years, I'm just going to use the spaghetti effect, right? The Will Smith spaghetti effect. If you remember what he used to look like eating spaghetti and what he looks like now eating spaghetti in that 2 year time frame, that's kind of how the overall evolution of AI in real time is. And the fact that AI is now out to people who are just utilizing it at home, like me. my wife, who's designing games for her students. Like, AI is out there to help, and I'm glad it's getting out there to the masses, but it's nowhere near massively adopted, if that's a good way to put it. We're very early in the AI game. The companies showing actual infrastructure demand and revenue conversion are still being rewarded. The ones that look like they're stretching the balance sheet, they keeps they can't keep doing that, I guess, right? I mean, they obviously have to show us what's going on, and they're starting to get questioned more aggressively by, well, the street, you and I as investors. That selectivity is healthy long term, even if it creates short term volatility in individual names. We all know this, it's brand new. We have to get used to how it functions, right? We have to know that it's making money. Billion-dollar, trillion-dollar companies can't be just spending all this money on AI if it's not returning on that dollar. We know this, and we're gonna have to keep talking about it. Oh, I didn't want to have to check the chat, but now I'm gonna have to check the chat. Dang it. Quantum here on YouTube brings up a great point. MySpace is coming back. I can't believe that's broken. That's worked its way into 2026 into my finance podcast. Like, the last time I had a MySpace was decades ago. Like, I can't believe it, Q. I mean, honestly, why? No one wants MySpace. I promise you, it's gonna be trash. No one, no one wants you, Tom. Like, Tom can be friends with everybody on X. Like, I don't want. Hey, if they bring Tom back, that'd be kind of cool too. But tangent, just tangent. But we're in the bit of a. We gotta prove it, right? We gotta prove what AI is spending. But MySpace is not gonna be an AI play. Apparently, they're gonna go very old school. They're probably just gonna relaunch with a lot of marketing and just maybe add some server space. Because if people just are Napster, oh my goodness, yes, Quantum Queso Dip is now bringing back the real Napster. Now, if you understand that joke, you are super old, just like me, and your back is probably sore right now. So go get some Advil during the book advertisement break later on. I can't. Napster and MySpace has made it into the 2026 Legacy Logic podcast chat. I cannot believe it. What year is this, man? I'm in a hoodie, ball cap, crazy hair. Oh my god, books in the background. Yeah, okay. This could very well just be live on MySpace soon. Yeah, coming soon. Live on MySpace. I'm gonna go dig up my old one. Oh my Jesus. Let's get back into it. Oh my goodness, man. But we're still in the prove it market. Soft labor and soft CPI bought us more time. Soft retail sales remind us the consumer is not invincible. Like, we're not invincible to MySpace coming back. Yeah, I can't stop. I can't. Oh my goodness. MySpace pages? Imagine that. Imagine that not only coming back, but imagine that just taking off again. Oh, are they gonna let us design our pages? Now, if you weren't around back when MySpace was around, what you could do is that was kind of your first exercise in coding. If you didn't know how to use JavaScript, you had to go and copy someone else's. So you'd have to go dig the internet and be like, okay, cool. There's MySpace, looks cool. Let's copy and paste your JavaScript. And that thing would run like trash, and you'd make people mad because the top friends wasn't them, right? Because you could only have 6 top friends and you could kind of pick who it was. It was so much drama. Oh, Hot Tub Time Machine, Quantum. Ugh. Yeah, this is just getting crazy now. But like I said earlier in the podcast when we started, let's talk about the Kairos Agentic portfolio. Now, I wish I could bring it up on Legend, but I can't. And I'd show you on my phone, but I can't because, well, I'm using it to broadcast my beautiful face. But the Kairos Agentic portfolio kind of went sideways all week. The assets that they have, like Open Door and Neo, are up. So the positions that are options, whether call or put, are down. So they're kind of trading sideways. Also, it has a bit of a hedge going on for I think 720 put on the SPY. I'm letting the agents do what they do. I wouldn't have necessarily made that trade, but hey, maybe it sees something I'm not seeing. 2 all-time highs in 1 week on the S&P. Hey, maybe that put is a good idea. So we'll see if the agents pan that out. But that's basically the week in the agent portfolio. If you're looking for like day-to-day updates, of course, my X account has all of that day-to-day, how they move, the delta that they're moving at, right? It's all out there for you guys, keeping it transparent and as direct and open as possible without opening up my bags. I don't show my balls, I don't show my bags. That's just not how it goes, right? It's bad luck. All right, let's talk about Taco Bucket. All right, so now if you're on Facebook, ahui ho. I'll see you again soon. Because of all the visuals I'm going to need here, I'll see you guys later. Until next week, this was the week that was for Facebook. Now, let's get back into Taco Bucket. Now, I've got some stuff up here that I'm going to bring out and some little visuals and stuff like that. But Taco, if you don't already know, is right here down at the bottom of the screen. And it's a meme coin, traditional style meme coin on Robinhood Chain. Love what's going on, built on humor as always. One of those fun little funny things, right? Here on the other side, as I pulled up, this is the bucket shop, right? I'm going to deep dive into that. So, brand new, semi-permanent, right? We're going to be talking about Robinhood Chain for a while because it is dominating the market. Like it's coming up on everybody right now, up at let's say $500 million in well, let's say holdings. I guess that's the way to put it. The amount of money that's on the chain right now. So we're going to call it this segment Taco Bucket because we're going to be talking about the two things that I care about on the Robinhood chain. Two plays related by the same developer. Now, if you don't know who the developer is, go check out my X account. It's Invest with Me. I don't know how to pronounce it. Me is a hard one. Me, right? It's Invest with Me. It's funny. He's a funny guy, but he has developed both Taco as well as Bucket or Bucket Shop, and the guy's got some great utility built into Bucket, and Taco is just hilarious. So they're doing real good on the chain right now. So Taco, this was the prior project from the builder Me or Invest with Me. At certifiedtaco.xyz. It ran hard at one point, peaking around 1 million in market cap area before, well, the usual cycle. Same DNA, the same style of on-chain experimentation. A lot of the early community that showed up for Taco is now watching or rotating into Bucket. So we're creating a bit of an ecosystem going on here. And honestly, if Invest with May is going to make one, then two, you're gonna get a three-peat on these beautiful coins, right? So now we're gonna talk about Bucket. Now Bucket's got a lot more utility. Now I'm gonna swap out screens here so we can kind of see a little bit more of what's going on. So give me 1 second. Bada bing. All right. So because Taco is pretty straightforward. It's a meme coin. It's hilarious. I'm trying to build a little bit of utility into it with some an index of some sort, right? So I try to help with the overall utilitarianness of it, right? Where I'd say like I'm a bit of a small team member, right? Just more of an ideas guy, just trying to keep the overall spread of capital on the low side. And honestly, I'm already on anyway, and I trust the developer. He's a good guy. I've met him at Robinhood Summit last year, and he doesn't he doesn't have a rug pull vibe. It's just not his thing. Him and I, we're the same in the fact that we're stock maxis, right? We like the stock market. We like the S&P 500. We like tech and we like SpaceX, like things that are going to build the future. Robinhood Chain is an experiment, and we want to make sure that we utilize the chain in productive ways, right? We're not out here to rug people, right? I'm talking about it with my face, but it's a very low market cap thing at the moment, right? So it's only a week old. So let's talk about some of the the mechanisms of Bucket, because it's a little bit more complicated than Taco. Taco, you just buy it and you hold it because it's hilarious. But with Bucket, you buy, let's say, 10,000 Bucket, and they're pretty inexpensive, under, let's say, 1/1000th of a penny, something like that. Every swap takes 3% fee on in Ethereum. That fee is automatically um, it automatically buys and distributes real tokenized stocks: Apple, Nvidia, Tesla, SpaceX, Palantir. And tokenized stocks are going to be kind of where the stock market will also go, right? We're going to see all these things going to go on chain so we can trade them 24/7. So we're kind of at the birthplace of the overall tokenized stock market. So as you can see, that's the things we build. And that's the things that, like, I'm building my Loxley game because people need to understand the stock market. Invest with Me built Bucket because he understands the stock market too, and he sees where that's going to go. Right? Am I trading Taco Quantum? Yeah. Trading, not so much. I picked up a bunch and kind of just hold on to it because it's so low right now. There's really no sense in trading it. It would just swing the market cap all over the place. I'd say trade it when it's like half a penny, maybe. Maybe take some profits up there. Like not a it's not an expensive coin, right? And trading it in and out is just going to rinse people on fees. But yeah, I mean, buy a little bit more over time if you want to put a little bit of profits from other stuff into either Bucket or Taco. Yeah, you can do that. Like, so with Bucket, what it does, it's like a dividend stock, right? So it distributes tokenized stocks at a distribution rate, and as you can see here, it's already distributed 46,000, almost $47,000 in distribution to all of the Bucket holders. Myself, my wife is a Bucket holder and Taco holder, and we're having a lot of fun watching the distributions come in because this is, well, we know that these distributions are based on companies that are, well, gonna go up eventually, and the fact that we have stock exposure on the chain is just great diversification. Also, you just get paid. It just you buy Bucket as long as you get more than 10,000, which is at this point probably less than $10, and you start getting paid stock tokens. Or you can also have it pay in Ethereum, also net. So you can have it pay stock tokens and crypto or both. So that is a great thing for me as a long-term investor, because then it makes it much easier to hold something as volatile as a utility meme coin. I don't want to call it a meme coin fully because meme coins have like no utility. They're just funny. This is just a very inexpensive utility coin. Now, there are a couple of other coins out there in the space that are doing this, but no one bringing out as much innovation as Invest with May is the dev is bringing out for Taco Bucket. As you can see here, we got Community Bucket. We also have predictions coming up. Here, I'm going to pull that up real fast so you can kind of see what that's all about. Now, this is a week old. A week ago, we didn't have any of this fun stuff going on. But as you can see, this is still building on this portion here. But what we do have already are prediction markets, and you can kind of just pick the price that you think it's going to be, like above or below. Easy as that. So the winners pay the losers with a fee, and that fee gets distributed to all the holders, all the bucket holders, and it's just such an incredible flywheel. Like, here, we'll go back to the we'll go back to the beginning because I think it talks about it here. So the flywheel is 100% of every fees goes straight to the holder distribution. Real numbers, live. I'm reading that from right here. Trade the bucket, 3% fee collected, treasury buys the stocks, and those fees get distributed, those stocks get distributed back to the holders. How crazy is that? Right? So here's the distributions, all of them, right? So as you can see, they show up right here, right? They got timestamps, how much of each were spread out to all of the wallet holders, right? You can see $7 of Apple, $8 of SpaceX. What is Quantum Case with dip here? I think the next prediction market play is if Bronny James stays with the. Oh yeah, trying to figure out who King James is going to go and be with next is super hard. Like, imagine that. Because, I mean, imagine there's some top contenders. Now, I'm not going to sit here like I know jack diddly squat about sports, because I don't. Like, that's my mother-in-law's department. And I don't think she's into basketball, so it might not even be her department. But my brother-in-law is very into basketball. Yeah, but I know of LeBron James. Who doesn't know about King James? Not, but I don't know who would be the one who can pay the most, right? And who can deal with the most amount of whining? Because he falls a lot, and he doesn't get hit every time he falls down. Very falling person. That's all I know about King James. King fall all the time guy. But doesn't say he's not a great basketball player. Not saying he's not a goat. Just saying he falls a lot. But back to Taco. Oh, Taco Bucket. All right, so as you can see, it distributes on a set schedule based on if the bucket hit the threshold, right? So as far as the threshold is here, right? So we haven't hit the threshold quite yet. So as fees come in, this will build up, and once this gets to 100, it distributes out to the holders. And that is just a crazy cool um, coin. Like, what? Like, how cool is this? And it keeps adding more cool stuff for people to utilize. Like, let's talk about the community bucket real fast. Like, I know people love cute stuff, so this is a community bucket. So you can also mint a random draw of a vetted tokens, right? So you mint one of these cute things, and they basically become one of your, oh shoot, I don't have my thingy hooked up here. Dang, I show you mine, but you can check it on my X. I took a picture of it at some point. But you get one of these things, and they become another portfolio for you. Then your distributions get held with your fun little character here. I love NFTs. Well, ERC-6551. But yeah, fun picture that does something interesting. It doesn't just sit there. You don't have to try to sell it. But if you did want to sell it, you could also, if you got a good one, right? So they're a combination, right? So the Series A of these are already sold out, right? We're done with that. I got one of the Series A, but these are some of the original Series A's that are currently on sale. Now, I can see, I don't see, understand why this one is 1.5 ETH. That's pretty expensive. But I can understand why, why are you jumping? Stop jumping around. Where'd you go? Oh, here we go. Sorry, it loads in real time, so sometimes that happens. Okay, here we go. So, but Buckethead 69, that's hilarious. And it's got SpaceX in it, also hilarious. So that makes a lot of sense. So if someone actually picks up Buckethead, this person's going to be in a pretty huge profit off their Buckethead, because Bucketheads are currently going for point 1 right here, 1.1 Ethereum, which is not very much. But I'd say that the market value of the dollar is about $19 for this thing, right? So these individuals are currently willing to take a small loss on these bucket heads, and people are probably going to pick them up over time. This one's kind of cool. It kind of flashes, right? So they all have individual characteristics. None of them are exactly the same, but there are a couple that are one of one. They don't have any traits of these. They are, well, just one, which is very, very interesting and very, very cool. Like, I'm very bullish on this project, and I think it's going to keep going. Like, there's not really a reason to. Oh, here we go. Look, the threshold is up. All right, very good. How's everybody doing? And let's check the chats going on here. All right, everybody seems to be functioning and working. But yeah, let's talk about some of the more nitty gritty things about Bucket Shop. No stocking, no mutual claims, or no manual claims, no discretionary manager, pure on chain fee to distributor loop. That is it. You can also mint bucket accounts, like I was showing you, or bucket heads, to concentrate your weight of your distribution into 1 to 5 specific stocks, right? So when you buy your 10,000 bucket, you get um, 20 distributions across I'm doing both, so I'm getting like 10 of this stock tokens and 10 of the most popular, most trending, I would imagine, uh, crypto coins or meme coins going on right now. So it's trading from, it's got like Juggernaut in there. I've seen Pawns in there. Cash Cat is coming in. Like, I'm just getting dividends of Cash Cat. Like, that is just such a freaking cool concept. Also getting dividends of SpaceX, right? If you want to think about distributions, they're dividends, and you already paid for them. And let's say you continue to hold these positions, eventually it'll out size your initial investment. Eventually, that's just math, right? If you keep getting distributions, keep people keep investing in something as cool as this, right? Then you're gonna keep getting distributions over time forever. That's the funnest part. It just goes. And he's constantly building. Developer keeps going. It's already got live prediction markets, like I showed you, stock prime calls, community mints, letterboards, right, where people can kind of, yeah, you can kind of see, if you want to show you the letterboard here, right, you can kind of see how let it load up here, and perps, which are under development, which is I'm pretty interested to see how that's going to go. That's kind of exciting, actually. Everything is designed to feed back to the distributions and the bucket flywheel. This week, the project has been moving really fast. Like, as you can see, the distributions are up over almost to 47,000 in actual distributions over just, we're on a week. Like, today would be its week birthday. Series A and B style buckethead mints, expanded token support, and uh, constant on-chain transparency. That's really where it's in there. Like, these people know who the developer is, the real human being. Like, a lot of some of the competitors, well, not even like, they have a similar thought process, but they haven't developed anything new. But we don't know who the developers are. You're talking to other doxed individuals, right? We're trying to be real people here, right? Trying to show you that, hey, this is driven by human beings, but designed by AI. Volume and FDV have been swinging hard. Classic early RWA slash meme adjacent profile on Robinhood Chain. I mean, that's just how it goes early in. But the distribution numbers are real and verifiable. So the same developer, same experimental RWA, on-chain incentives approach, natural community overlap. It's like, why don't you just hold both, right? I mean, personally, I'm biased. Obviously, I know the guy, and the guy is cool. I don't have to worry about some random individual on the internet. We're gonna be hanging out at a summit, probably talking stories about Bucket, hanging out with whoever wants to talk about Bucket, honestly. But Bucket Shop is a current live experiment, though, right? We're here in the meme market. It is a week old. Expect, like, don't even hope for non-violent swings. Expect violent swings. That's just how it goes early in a project. It is a high risk, high attention, pure Robinhood chain chaos kind of energy. But it's a chaos that pays. So if you guys are still in the chat, in any of the two chats we're still running, how are you guys doing? Thank you for sticking along. Seems that everything is running here as well. All right. But that was our very first segment of Taco Bucket. Thank you for joining me. Now, let's get into our outlook for next week. What the opportunities are maybe presenting themselves, right? Let's see what's going on. So we're going to approach it from a couple of different angles because traders look at, well, making money from different points of view. So here's angle one. Soft CPI and lower hike odds still give the market a supportive rate backdrop. Here's the next angle. Earnings dispersion continues, focus on clean conversion, not just spend. Angle 3. Consumer data is the new watch item after the weak retail sales print. Yeah, we're going to have to watch that. Like, it should have moved the market more, but it kind of went meh, right? That's just kind of how it happens. So here's what I'm looking at for next week. I'm looking for any residual data / Fed speaker talk. Like any more minutes that come out, those little grains of nuggets are all good for kind of figuring out what's going on inside of Fed Warsh's head. Um, Obviously, let's see how the Reddit S&P inclusion goes, because I want to see what happens after, whether they get a pump afterwards, whether they get a dump off. Because now that they're a big player here in the S&P 500, we're really going to see what Reddit has got. Let's see if it's got legs. It has to report. You're going to see a bit of an initial pump on Reddit because of the rebalancing that has to happen to all of the portfolios that are based off of the S&P 500, ETFs, stuff like that. So they now have to include Reddit and, well, exclude whatever's getting kicked out. Also, we're looking at applied materials / Broadcom type AI financing reactions, right? Always. Of course, we have to watch for oil. We're going to have to watch it over the weekend. Like, we're going to get tacos over the weekend. I guarantee tomorrow morning I'm going to wake up and it's going to be like, we're going to war. We're going to decimate them, put them all in the ocean with the mermaids. That's what we're going to get tomorrow morning from President Trump. And then Sunday is going to come along. Talks are being done, and I think they're incredible, and I think we've come up with a plan that's gonna open the strait forever. I'm not I'm an impressions guy, but I've never done Trump, so that was terrible. But that's what we're gonna get over the weekend. We always get taco over the weekend. Might as well just, well, get into it. Yeah, what's up here? They keep, let's see, quantum cases. They keep talking rate hikes. Yeah, they do. Like, is this a fake out? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. We're really like let's talk about rate hikes a little bit, because this is a whole new territory, right? We don't know how to read Fed Chair Warsh. He doesn't have a not Fed Chair Warsh on X. We don't know. We don't have enough of a track record, and I think he knows that too. So he has to play this so close to the hip. It's seeming dodgy. That was a tremendous expression. Yeah, buddy. Appreciate that. Oh man. Gotta keep it fun. Gotta keep it light. Because at the end of the day, we're talking about math and money, companies, presidents, oil, war, computers, right? So, impressions, yeah, they help. But before we get into this and it gets too lengthy, how are you guys doing? I don't want to close this up if we haven't gotten everybody's questions handled. Quantum Case of Dip holding up the chat with my beautiful wife. Appreciate it, guys, for jumping in and hanging out with us. Now, if you guys want to see something really interesting real fast, I'll show you, since you're around, I'll show you Loxley. So I've got it running somewhere. Give me one moment and I'll show you what Loxley looks like. So if you're not familiar with Loxley, it's a game I developed the last few days to try to teach young children how to trade. So here it is. All right, let's see. Let me swap out a screen here. Nope, that's not it. There we go. This is Loxley. So this is just the I'm running it off of a free Wix website, right? It's for a middle school, right? But as you can see, this is how it goes. But it looks a little bit better in full screen, so let's pull it up in that. Now, here's the full screen version of Loxley. Like, I used AI and a little bit of creativity to create this for young adults and maybe even first-time traders. Now, as you can see, I've already got some trades going that from earlier. It saves your trades, so you can start a new game if you wanted, right? So it's got fake tickers here that run live of the actual system, right? Now, these are all fake, right? Now, when you open up a brand new Loxley account, right? Fake money. This is just a paper trading game. You get 10 shares of Loxley. But as you can see, there are more companies down here, right? You got Apple's, Google, Amazonia, right? As you can tell, I base them off of real companies, right? They're not that far off where you can't figure out what the heck is going on. right? And we also got like DraftKings, Lululemon, right? Well, there's also Spider Z and Cube Z, right? And you can pull them up and you can see what they're about, and they're a basket of fake stocks that are on this fake stock market, right? So they're all running in sort of a closed program, right? It's not exposed to anything. This can run with no internet, right? This just goes. So I have it on a web on my my wife's school reading page website, and I'm excited to see if the kids can kind of figure it out, right? And a lot of trading games that I've seen or played, they don't have ETFs, right? Or they don't have treasury bills, and it's good for the kids to kind of see what this is as well, right? This is more stable, pays a little bit over time for you to hold it, right? So you don't have to worry about the market swings. It's also got awards as well. But speaking of market swings, so the cool thing is it's got a news feed here, right? And this news feed will actually change how the market reacts, right? So the whole market feels pressure, right? So I earned, oh, cool. I earned $58 from babysitting a family friend, ready to reinvest. Awesome. So now we've got cash sitting ready, right? We can deploy some cash. So let's see how our Robinhood is doing, right? So on the they're doing pretty good. Look, on the week, it might be a kind of a tough time to buy, bullish, right? On the month, all right, awesome. Let's put in, let's buy 10 shares. Boom, done. Right, I got them in at a cost average of $18. Now these are obviously not the real prices. If Robinhood was $18, I'd be buying a whole bunch. Oh, God candle on qubits. No way. All right, so let's check that out real fast, right? So the kids, I think, are going to really enjoy this, and I had a lot of fun putting it together. Now, this is the very first alliteration. Where is, here we go, D-Wave. Boom, look at that. Oh, great job on the day, week, like up from $10 to $18, right? So this is just something they can play with, and over time, it'll grow. Bad things will happen too, right? Nike and Nikki and Adidas signed new sports stars, right? Whole market catches a bid. Calculator app hits #1 on the charts. Math is cool again, right? So this is just hopefully they can kind of figure it out. It's also got little power ups here, rally days, lost shields, and if you blow your account, you just start a new game. Right, so I'm pretty stoked for Loxley, and I'm stoked for all of the other games that are going to be coming out um for young adults to try to learn. Like this should be already out. This should be something attached to Robinhood app. My wife had the idea that it should be attached to the Trump accounts, like if they had a way for the kids to kind of practice something, because eventually they're going to get a hold of their investments. You kind of want them to know what they're doing once they get a hold of it. Oh, multi-day rally, nice. So it doesn't run in actual days, right? So you can see it has after hours where it runs slower. It's just a fun project. I like building stuff, and I want to build stuff that educates people. If you've been here for the 6 months I've been hanging out, yeah, 6 months or more, maybe 8 or 9 months I've been here on YouTube hanging out with you guys. You guys know education is huge because until you figure out discipline and learn how this market, how any stock market works or any market works, you're gonna lose money, right? So learning in a fun, educational way is the way to go. Let's check on the chat here. I would recommend P, but it's ripped this week. Oh yeah, yeah. Quantum Queso Dip's got a recommendation. I'm gonna check in on that. Thanks, bro. I appreciate that. But these are the projects I made. Let's close this back down and finish off this podcast for you guys. Thank you for hanging out with me on X. I know I'm talking about something you didn't see, but if you are hanging out with me on X, you already know this. You see the pictures already. You know what Loxley is. And thank you for supporting all the people out there who have been watching me and hanging out with me this whole time. Hopefully, I've brought something educational and fun to your life. And I appreciate you guys hanging out with me every week here on the week that was. Now, the market digested soft inflation and good for rates, of course, and the soft retail sales, not so good for growth. Well, still managing a third weekly gain on the new S&P 500 record. Selectivity in the AI complex is rising, and we are officially um, we officially launched a taco bucket. A little segment here talking about Robinhood Chain, the just the relentless building that Robinhood does, and whatever they do build grows. Whatever they do build is the best of the best. Is the best way I can put it, right? They're top of the game every time they put something out. That's why Robinhood Chain is being adopted so quickly. But let's keep an eye out for next week. The Fed speakers and whatever taco happens over the weekend. Also, we're going to be watching Taco and Bucket, watching Robinhood Chain, and watching the usual markets here with you guys on the week that was. If you've got questions after the chat is done and after the live is gone, please hit me up in any outlet you know that I'm at. I'm happy to answer them, happy or hateful. About the macro, about the desk, or about Taco Bucket. Drop them. I've always got time here and there to answer a few questions. Now, thank you for everybody in the chat. Quantum Queso Dip, the chat captain, my wife, the beautiful queen. Mahalo for being here. Farewell. Ahui ho. Please be safe. My gosh, there's a freaking tropical storm going on out there. Enjoy your weekend as best you can. I wouldn't recommend touching grass or going outside at all because it's going to be very damp. Rest up. The machines and the buckets will always be watching. Ahui ho. I'll see you on the markets as well as on the porch.